Hey guys, Gaming Off the Grid here. Whether you're talking about video games, movies, or albums, making a quality sequel can be a very difficult thing to do. But what about a threequel? In today's episode, we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite video game threequels of all time. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Ground Control by Ninkasi Brewing Company. It's a bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout with yeast that went to space.
This sounds very interesting. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's talk about our top 5 video game threequels of all time.
Hey everybody, I'm Chronik Spartan, and one of my favourite things to do is grabbing a good beer, kicking off my shoes, relaxing my socks, and watching one of my favourite YouTube channels, Gaming Off the Grid. Cheers.
All right, here we go. It's time to talk about threequels. A lot of times by the third entry in a video game franchise, things can get a little stale. Like, you don't necessarily always want that third game.
Yeah, and sometimes they mess up and ruin a franchise. But today we're going to talk about 5 games that got it right the third time. Third time's the charm.
Yeah, now, full disclosure, we wanted to make this a little difficult on ourselves, so we limited this to video games that have 3 in the title.
Yes.
So, Super Metroid fans, I know it's the 3rd installment in the series, but you're not going to get that on this countdown. You're not going to get Link to the Past. Again, 3rd Zelda game, but it doesn't have 3 in the title. So it has to have 3 in the title to be eligible to be on our top 5
And
list.
this doesn't necessarily mean that it is the best in the series. We just think the third one that came out is better than the prior 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so here we go. Let's start with one of the best video games of all time. In 1990, Nintendo released the game changer, Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yes.
On the heels of 2 epic releases, Super Mario Bros. And Mario 2 are damn near perfect games in their own right. How do you make that better? They figured it out with Super Mario Bros. 3.
Man, this game is so iconic. It's so great. I'm not taking a shot at Mario 1 or Mario 2. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think they just did it so good.
Yeah, the overworld map was an awesome introduction. The game just felt like, holy cow, where do you go from here? And to this very day, I will argue that this is one of the best video games of all time.
Wow.
I love it. They nailed it. It's tough because it's still in a conversation where you could maybe wrestle, is it the best Mario game ever? I think it probably is, but there's some stiff competition out there. But nonetheless, it's got to be in our top 5. Super Mario Bros. 3. Nintendo freaking nailed it. One of the best video games ever made.
Now let's move on to this Super Nintendo. And this whole series we love. It's a co-op series that is just fantastic. Run and gun. Contra 3, The Alien Wars. Contra 1 and Super C are fantastic games. But wow, did they perfect Contra in Contra 3. It just feels so great. The different weapons, you can have 2 weapons. It's just so freaking badass.
It is such a great game, and it was one of those games that we found later in life, but it's literally everything you would want in a Contra game. You know, there's even modern retro games that are mirroring themselves after this format, like Blazing Chrome. So,
which is a fantastic game. So
it's
that
an ode
says
to how good it is.
It's such a fantastic game, and I'm on a no-death rant.
Yeah, hey, nothing like tooting on your own horn.
Moving on.
Moving right through the list here, I cannot think of a greater leap in a video game franchise of all time than what Rockstar did with Grand Theft Auto 3. This game might be one of the biggest game changers of all time.
Yes.
This is one of those video games, I even think you, the viewers, might agree. You remember where you were and who you played this game with the first time you played it. Now, towards the intro of this video, you said this isn't necessarily the best entries in the franchise.
Yes.
These are just threequels that got it right, and how can you have a list without this game that literally laid the framework, structure, and foundation for every Grand Theft Auto game that has came since.
Yes.
And we're still playing on the framework of this today.
It's crazy when this game came out, how different it was than Grand Theft Auto 1 and Grand Theft Auto 2, but how much better it was. Those games are still great, but man, everything you could ever imagine you can do in this game.
Yeah.
It's insane.
You know,
it's so good.
And gone were the days of the overhead view, which those Grand Theft Auto games are a ton of fun. Even to go back and play them, they're a blast. I love the first 2 games, but this is a whole different can of worms. There were kids that were wanting a game like this, that were fans of Driver 1 and 2.
Yes.
That is who this game placated to in my mind. I remember when this game came out, I was like, oh my god, it's Driver, like I've always thought it was going to be. I can get out of my car, I can raise hell, I can shoot people, and run around and do whatever I want.
Carnage.
I would love to know a tally of how many hours were wasted by people playing this game, accomplishing nothing.
And
like, not even doing missions.
And by saying wasted, that's not a play on words.
No.
That's what happens in this game a lot.
Yeah, it's going for just getting 5 stars and just creating havoc. And the games that came after this, each installment almost was a better version. But wow, what Rockstar did with Grand Theft Auto 3, it just can't be overstated how amazing it was, and one of the biggest leaps in a franchise that I can ever remember.
I think out of all of our list, this is the biggest leap and
biggest game changer,
yeah,
I would say.
it was just insane. Now, speaking of driving games, let's move on to our next pick with Burnout 3 Takedown. Oh my god, the Burnout series, fantastic, but Burnout 3...
This is a different animal.
Holy crap. First off, soundtrack. Soundtrack is phenomenal,
Yeah.
and I just want to say, Local H is in this, so
Hey.
that's badass.
If you've watched us, you know we love Local H, and everyone alive from their best album, in my
yeah.
opinion, PJ Souls, is on this soundtrack.
So that's icing on the cake. This game is so sweet. It's a long game to get all the gold stars. There's so
Yeah.
many different game modes. There's multiplayer. Dude, crashing the car and getting the most damage is one of the funnest things, and we've lost hours
Yeah.
playing it, even one player.
Burnout 3 Takedown is a great racing game in its own right, but that is not why it is on this list. The crash mode. It's so much fun. It's unbelievable how fun it is. It's addicting. We literally, yesterday, prior to filming this episode, played this game, I'm not even joking, 8 hours straight.
Yes. And we were supposed to get so much stuff done, and it all got put on hold because we couldn't stop. We just want to unlock the freaking fire truck.
And to keep all this in mind, we've played this before.
Yes.
So it is such a fun game. I don't know if there's a fun factor game out there that can compete with Burnout 3 Takedown. Once you figure out the mechanics of the game, you don't even have to be a racing game fan. I'm not.
Yeah.
I like arcade racers. This is a different animal. It's just a great, perfect video game.
And it's awesome. We play it 2-player, but we play the single-player story mode, the World Tour. And we just take turns every time we get the gold medal. And
Moving on. Pass it along.
Oh, God, it's so much fun.
It is.
Now, we got one more game to talk about, and we have some honorable mentions, but let's talk about this beer first.
Yeah, all right. So this is the ground control. The yeast used in this beer was sent into outer space and brought back,
Crazy.
then used to brew this tasty brew.
This is a bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout brewed with Oregon hazelnut, star anise, cocoa nibs, and ale yeast sent into space. Holy crap. They took brewing to the next galaxy, to the next level. This is insane.
So it's weird how things work out in life, right? One of my favorite beer reviews that Kinzilla ever did was her space one with the space helmet on reviewing this beer. And she knows her beer. So we're like, man, we would love to try that. It sounded so unique. Fast forward to 2020, and one of our good friends we've met through YouTube, Nintendong, is his screen name. He sent us this beer randomly. Like, didn't say, hey, what are you guys looking for from Oregon? He just sent it to us.
So thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. We've been wanting to try this beer for a long time. When we opened that box and seen this in there, we're like, holy hell. Ah! So the review.
High expectations. What do you think about this space beer?
I feel like this has been aging for a while.
Yes.
Because I think the original batch of this came out in 2017. I feel like age has done it well.
Yes, this is very smooth.
This is a very good beer. That being said, for a barrel-aged stout, you know where our expectations are. I'm blown away by the fact that they used yeast from outer space more than I am by the taste and the flavor profile of this beer.
Yes, so that's so cool that they did that, but what did that do to the yeast? What did that do to the flavor? I don't really know, and if I don't know that, if they didn't tell me that this came from space, I would just think this is another beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that fact is amazing. I love the box. The can art's so cool. This is a good beer.
Yeah.
But it's not sending me into orbit.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's not. You know, I do get some of that hazelnut, the cocoa nibs
The
for sure.
sweetness of the chocolate,
The anise, I get some of that coming through, which I love, like black licorice and that type of flavor. So that's always a welcomed addition to a barrel-aged stout. On a spectrum, I'd give this a 4 out of 5, an 8 out of 10. It's not world class. It's enjoyable, but yeah, it's like the bright lights on the marquee of this beer drew me in.
Yep.
And I got there to the show, and I just had an okay time. That's how I feel about this beer.
yeah, it's still really cool. Thank you so much, Nintendo, for sending
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
You did not have to do that.
This was on a bucket list for beers that we wanted to try.
I'm really curious to see what it would have tasted like when it first got brewed, like, because aging process does change the taste.
Yeah.
And it is a lot smoother, I'm guessing, than how it was back then.
All right, good beer. So excited we were able to try it out. Again, check it off the old bucket list. Nintendo, again, thank you so much. We appreciate it, bro. Now, we're going to reveal some honorable mentions before we reveal the last game on our top 5 Threequels of all time. So, the honorable mentions are Sly Cooper 3,
Halo 3,
Gears of War 3.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3,
Ooh, I knew you were going to slip that one in there. Fallout 3,
Skate 3,
God of War 3,
and House of the Dead 3.
All right, so it's super imperative that you guys understand that you had to have 3 in the title to be on this list. If you didn't have the word or the number 3, you could not be a part of this countdown. The final game, one of my favorite games of all time. One of the best Threequels ever made, in my opinion. Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
Oh, dude. This game blew my mind. It's
Unbelievable.
So cool.
It took everything that you were loving from 1 and 2.
And
in 3, you're outdoors in a jungle. You literally feel like Rambo in this game. That feeling of sneaking up behind a guard and slitting his throat, and the blood just... The boss fights in this game, still to this day, there are some of them. I've beat this game probably 25 times.
Damn.
There's still some of the boss fights that take me time. Like, every time I replay it, I'm like, man, how did I beat it last time? So many nuggets in this game. Still to this day, one of my favorite Easter eggs in a video game ever is when you're fighting Vulcan, and if you get the costume from the lockers that looks like Raiden, and you put it on, you gotta pause it when you're fighting him, and you put it on, and he stops mid-boss fight, and he goes, Ivan? Is that you? Ivan?
Dude, the stories you've told me about you and your cousin playing that and on repeat.
Dude, we have figured out everything there is to do in this game. There's no doubt in my mind. There's nothing you can tell me that I haven't seen before in Metal Gear Solid 3. And on top of that, it's such a great game. Now, it's had so many iterations released where, you know, you're not fixed to the original camera, and then you finally can have full control of the camera, so on and so forth. They're all great. Doesn't matter. Just as a whole, the story, the cinematography, the voice acting,
The visuals.
man, when you're climbing the freaking ladder towards the end of that game and that song starts playing, you guys know the song. It still can almost bring me to tears. That game was such a journey, such a story. I can't think of a threequel that really hit it out of the park much better than this one. I still think it's the best entry in the franchise, and that's saying a lot.
That is
it's a
saying
great
a lot.
franchise.
Such a great franchise.
Yeah.
But it is a fantastic game. And that is our top 5 threequels of all time. I know there's a ton out there.
Yeah.
But, dude, sometimes when video game companies make a threequel, they kind of shit the bed.
Yeah, you know, it gets a little tired sometimes, and I think with movies, albums, you know, you have your entire life to write your first record, they say.
Yep.
And you got the next 9 months to write your second. Good luck, kid. That's kind of how it goes with video games. They're wanting it so fast. They want that next, you know, sales increase, whatever it is, and you have to deliver. You're painted into a corner. You don't have your whole life to make that next installment.
One thing that I do want to bring up since we're talking about threequels is Valve. I think that they are scared of threequels because they never release a third in the series.
Yeah.
They release little things here and there, but it's never quite like, where's Portal 3? It's like, I keep
Left 4
hoping.
Dead.
Yeah, Left 4 Like, there's so many games that Valve. That's a whole.
Half-Life, yeah.
It's a whole different topic. But I just want to bring that up. Like, they might be scared of threes.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyways, guys,
Leave it on
in the
that.
comment section below, let us know, what did you think of our list? What threequels did we not bring up today that you love, that you're like, guys, you guys are nuts. How did this not make your list? We would love to know. We always appreciate you tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking. We'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Off the Grid.
Oregon hazelnuts, star anise, cocoa nibs, and ale yeast sent into space.
Star anus.
That's what I said.
He's an anus.
Anus. Anus.
Anus.
This is a bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout brewed with Oregon hazelnuts, star anise.
Whew. Hey guys, Gaming Off the Grid here. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Ground Control by
Ninkasi.
Ninkasi Brewing. Ninkasi. It's in a box.
And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's talk about our top 3 video game threequels of all time.
You said top 3.